And if someone could, or maybe if everyone could help by typing the names of the mushrooms that we're talking about into the chat to help us follow along. So with all of that said, I know Hervé has some stuff to share. And anybody, Mike Inskeep has something to share. So if we start with Hervé and then go to Mike, and then if anybody else. And just so you know, you are still muted, Hervé.
What's happening?
I don't know. I'm giving Hervé a minute.
Oh.
Well, there we go. Looks like he's working on something.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, you might want to maximize your screen down.
Okay, this is an iNaturalist window. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay. This is about a wood rot. This is a picture of some kind of brown rot on a stump. And it's very interesting because you can see all the structure, you can see the vessel and you can see. So I would like to identify the fungus that caused this. Here is the stump. So it's about like 1 or 2 feet diameter. Maybe it's an old oak. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to identify the tree, okay? It's in Rutgers Gardens, okay? And the structure is absolutely amazing. We can see like the section of the vessels of the wood. So I wonder what fungus would do this? Would eat up everything except like the vessels and some of the radial structures. Could it be like a cubic brown rot? Or cubical brown rot?
I'm personally not really sure. I've seen this type of rot before, but it's not like the cubical brown rot that I can usually identify. That looks like brown rot there, your lower left-hand corner.
Here, yeah.
That photograph in the lower left-hand corner, like that stuff there, that looks like cubical brown rot.
And and the light lines here, they are not actually the rings, they're actually radial. They are not rings, they are radiuses. So this fungus is living.
Yeah, the radial things I think are the medullary rays, probably in oak. I feel like I just read something somewhere about that, some kind of a fungus that creates those little tiny holes in the wood that does this, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. I did not write it down, I'm pretty sure.
There was a really
It seems to me that the holes are actually the holes of the vessels of the wood.
Yeah, like the xylem and the phylum. It could just infect that part of the wood initially before deteriorating the wood further.
And that it spared, the vessels and the radial structures.
There was a really good article a year or two ago in Fungi magazine on different types of rots. I don't know what issue it was off the top of my head, but if you subscribe to Fungi magazine, maybe dig through your old copies of it because they had a really good article on all the different types of wood rot, because it's not really just so like black and white with, white and brown rots, but there's all these different types of sub rots within those groups, as like we're seeing here. And I think they're, mycologists are digging a little deeper into some of that stuff.
And there could be more than one fungus. Maybe there is a succession of fungi that have done that, because this tree may be extremely old. Maybe this tree is 100 years old.
I don't know. I personally don't have any suggestion of what fungus that could be. I don't know if anybody else would either.
So I contacted the botanist of Rutgers, and maybe they know. Maybe they recognize the structures and maybe the chemical, nature, and maybe that would give us some clues. Okay, next one. I found that on a dead beech tree. It's a mushroom it's a shelf mushroom that's about 2 inches in diameter. It's very attractive, actually. It's beautiful mushroom. Yeah. And it has gill that runs down, to the base of the stem. So that's a dead beech. The top view. And that's a view with a mirror that shows the underneath, the under parts. Okay, but that's the best view of it.
Could you please zoom in on that one?
Sorry?
Could you please zoom in on this one?
Yeah.
For a moment, I thought this may be one of those, how do you call them, Neolentinus lepidius?
That's
Train-
on conifer.
Yeah, that's right. So this is beech.
It's probably an old pleurotus that froze and thawed and dried out and cracked up on top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of dry. It
That's
was
what I-
dry, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. So, okay. I just wanted to see the gills, whether they were serrated or not.
Yeah, because it could be some other kind of lentinus or something like that. But it doesn't look like it really. It looks like an old pleurotus.
Yeah, they look wavy because they've been frozen and then thawed
Right.
multiple times.
That's
They
what I
just lost
think.
their shape.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. This is not Neolentinus.
Okay, so this is polypleurotus, you said?
Yeah.
Not polypleurotus, pleurotus, oyster mushroom.
Oysters.
Pleurotus. Okay. All right, next one. It's an oyster mushroom, but I'm not sure which one it is. I wonder if it's not a late one, like Serotina. I found it just last week, And it smelled delicious. It was on the stump at the base of the tree, huh?
Nice. Probably pleurotus austratus, the classic oyster mushroom. They tend to be the ones that come out kind of late.
Yeah.
It's not Sarcomyces cerotina. It's I think you need to really measure spores to get a better idea of There's 3 species that are pretty similar. Pleurotus austratus, Pleurotus pulmonarius, but I don't think this is pulmonarius. Pulmonarius is very white and comes out in warm or hot weather. And Pleurotus populinus, which looks a lot like Ostratus, but I think there's a difference in spore size between populinus and Ostratus. I'd have to look it up. Also, spore print color is sometimes helpful with these. They don't all have white spore prints. At least one of those species, and I get it confused. I have to look it up. But at least one of these species has spore print that's like very pale, smoky, grayish lilac sort of. My guess these are Ostratus though. Those are the ones that usually come out.
Ostratus, okay.
Dave,
Those are the best ones, by the way. Yes.
yes, we're listening to somebody listening to TV or the radio. Could you please mute yourself? It's like you hear the person talking and then the background noise.
Okay, no, that was me. Sorry.
Dave.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Did you eat those Pleurotus?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
No, because I was not 100% sure they were edible.
Oh,
But
they are edible. You just take the spore print, it's going to be kind of pinkish or whatever, and they look like classic Pleurotus to me. Nice
they
collection.
look delicious. They
It's not gonna- it
smelled
won't be- it
sweet
won't be
and they were
pink.
fleshy, you know?
Yeah, it won't be a pink spore print. It'll be like a smoke, either a white or maybe slightly yellowish, or maybe a little bit smoky looking.
Well, I didn't mean pink like an Antaloma, but there's kind of some kind of a hue that's not white, maybe not
Yeah,
purple, but yeah,
Just this slightly pigmented.
yes.
Yeah. And maybe it's still there. I didn't put the exact location. I don't want somebody to take it before me. Anyway. Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Bon appetit.
Thanks, Hervé.
Merci.
Okay, who was next? I think it was Mike, right? Are you muted, Mike?
Sorry.
There you go.
So let me back up. Sorry. So I think this is Niveoporiformis spraguei, because my guess is that it's on oak, not locust. But the interesting thing was, if you look down at the older one on the underside, there are these small mushrooms growing on it.
Oh, that is interesting. Oh, wow.
Oh, those are probably either Entalomas or what's that other thing? What's the sweetbread mushroom? It's not that. But what's the gene? Clytopilus, yeah.
Mhm.
Clytopilus. Yeah. I think those are Clytopilus.
Fragile.
Really cool. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
that
a
is
great
cool.
find. You
And
can tell from the spores, I think.
I tried to collect a spore print, but I couldn't get anything.
You might be able to scope a little piece of gill and find something, if you have a microscope. That's a really, really good find.
I found it like a week ago.
Oh, you found that same thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
Hobsoni. Mhm.
What did you,
Hobsoni. It's Clytopilus, right?
Yes, Clytopilus hobsoni.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
Hudsoni.
what did you find it on, Marisol?
By themselves on a stick.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So it's
I did the micro.
Clytopilus.
Huh?
Clytopilus what?
Hudsoni or Hobsoni. There is nothing else like that. It's the smallest of the Critoptilus.
Is that
Uh-huh.
2 eyes on the end of that, Marisol?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I
uh-huh.
think you would say Hobsonii. I'm not sure about that, though.
No, that's English pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, doesn't sound like that I mean, in Italian or Spanish, no, 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 in Latin. But that's an English pronunciation, the I. Right.
So the other thing I have to share is
I'm-
this.
Before you go too far, Mike, did you see that Marisol identified the mushroom that you were calling Nivea porphyrimis?
Oh, she did.
Yeah, it's actually
Oh, what
Trimides,
did she say that was, Luke?
Trimides lactinia.
Lactinia, oh, okay, I was gonna suggest Gibosa, but yeah, Lactinia, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gibosa has long pores, whereas lactinia is round. pores.
Oh, okay, you know what, did they used to be lumped? Because I think they used to say could be either wife or Gibosa. But that might be, that might have been split. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I have Trimides lactinia. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, cool. All right. So I will stop the share. And the other thing I found was this. And I don't know if you can see it well, but it's Chlorosaboria on a clothespin on my clothesline in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
Is there a fruit body on there, or is it just
No,
the stain?
No, just the stain.
That could be a mold then.
No, it's growing through the wood.
Oh, okay.
I'd wash your clothes thoroughly from now on.
Time to replace those things. Buy the plastic ones.
No.
Yes.
No, they
Then
don't work as
I'd
well.
miss out on all the fun. So thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks, Mike. Okay, let's see, who was next? Somebody had a question or something. Lynn. Lynn would like to ask about something.
Yeah, I'd like to show you something if I can get to my screen. Oh, sorry, I'm struggling. Now, can I come back? There, that's what I want to share. This is a polypore. I live near in Eastern Ontario in Canada. And this was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, on a big maple log. And if I go into that picture, there's this soft polypore growing on the moss. On top of the log.
Physis forinus.
Could you say that again?
I'll write the name.
Thank you very much. I've been so curious about this. I couldn't figure out what it was.
Is this a polypore or a slime mold?
It's a polypore, a supinate polypore.
That's a polypore. Wow.
And you can see, the pores are quite large.
It may, one possibility, because this one grows on moss. It may.
Okay. In May.
No. It may be this one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's one of those that grows on moss.
Okay, so it does it not, is it anchored in the, is the mycelium in the moss and not in the
Probably
wood?
parasitizing the moss, probably.
And so is it growing in the wood or the bark at all?
No, on the moss.
Only in the moss. Okay.
No. Did you find wood underneath too?
Yeah, it's on top,
Oh, well, okay.
it's on
yeah.
top of a big log.
Oh, I see. I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, and so there's where it is. There's the log, and it's growing
Oh,
on
I
top
see it.
of the moss.
But do
that-
you work on microscopy?
No, what should I do? I want to learn to do that. What should I look for?
You at least like you could start with the spores. You put the crust, the resupinate polypore on a slide, and then the next day you will get a spore print, and then you can at least like study the spores.
Good,
Because that will define the group where it belongs to.
good. Thank you very much. I'll look for that name.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing then.
All right, thanks, Lynn. That was pretty cool. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to share from their own computer? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And starting with Marius.
Yeah, so I was dragging out the stump from underneath a tarp that I want to sterilize to grow Chronoderma lindsay on. And there was this very, very small fruit bodies on the very, very thin stalks coming out of the bark from those oak stumps. This is a bit rough. I couldn't really zoom in on it, so you can see this very pixelated. Here we can see a little bit more detail, but the last two pictures will really tell the story. There were like 5 of these. It looks like little filaments that they grow on. And yeah, and as you can see here, it is little balloon shaped. And there's little hairs that stick out on the top of each of those little sacs or eggs. Sorry?
Insect eggs.
Is it insect eggs?
It looks like that. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Holy cow, I thought that may be a mushroom, but they stick straight up.
How tall is it, Marius?
It's about, I would say 10 millimeters tall. And those little heads is about a millimeter. They really stand far out. So that's what I thought they were, but I couldn't believe that such a large structure could stand on such a small, thin stalk. So that makes sense if it's silk, so they say silk is stronger than steel. Look what that thing can support if that were eggs. It's amazing. Anyways, I'll find out what it is. Thanks.
That is very unique.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, because usually egg sacs are sent to dangle from upwards, but to stand upright on something like that,
I may have turned the stump at some point. They probably petrified there for quite a while. They were on the tarp where I stored the wood for my experiments.
There's a really good book. I'll put the name of it in the chat, called Tracks and Signs of Insects and Other Invertebrates.
Oh yeah?
And it's really good for tracking down this type of stuff.
But you find under the logs.
Give me a minute, it's a long name.
The font of knowledge there, huh? But I mean, the stuff that we see underneath the logs is quite interesting, huh?
It's on page 40, what is that number? 40,
48.
48 of track signs and of insects and other invertebrates, and it's called The Egg of a CH. Hey, you read it. I can't read it. CH.
I'll define it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Chrysopa?
Chrysopa.
No,
What is it? This one right
no,
here.
it's the right. It's the one on the
This-
right.
This one here. Anyways, it looks just like it.
Right is a tight cluster of green lacewing eggs.
It's a lacewing.
Oh, a
It's
laser.
a 13-millimeter stalk twisted together.
Okay, so that's
And so, what is
it's
it?
a lacewing.
A lacewing? That's an insect?
Yeah, it's an insect. Yeah, it's a good insect, predator. Yeah. Okay, that's what it is.
Thanks, Nina.
Oh,
Yep.
thank
you're
you.
welcome.
I put the name of that book in the chat. That's like a really, really good book for just all the, not the actual insect themselves, but like their egg pods and their, their webs and blah, blah, blah.
This would be a good thing to put on iNaturalist.
It is there,
Yeah.
but I classified it as fungi, so
Oh, okay.
I'll go and fix it. Just I
This
wish I
is-
have a better macro lens.
This is part of what I love about hunting for mushrooms is you find all kinds of other interesting things.
Yeah,
For sure.
and
Yeah, I have a collection of old bottles.
I
It's
found a
wonderful.
lot of toys, old-fashioned toys,
Oh yeah.
because in Smithville,
Uh,
behind the woods, it used to be the
dumps.
dumps. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are all sort of incredible artifacts and weird toys. I found a perfect porcelain, a dog. I have it here. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found old bottles and stuff. I've a
Yeah.
whole bucket full of those. Anyway, this is again from the Southern Hemisphere out of sunny South Africa. Can we just run through the slides quickly? Oh, well, I'm trying to educate them how to take the pictures better so we can identify it. And this is quite a common mushroom. I've seen it around there quite a lot. And you guys should be able to ID it because it's a worldwide distribution.
The last picture of the small one coming out of the cup, that's probably an Amanita.
You
That's
think
right.
so? I was asking them to totally dig it up, but they'll try next time to do that.
Yeah,
But
the
that's
other
what
ones
I
are,
was thinking,
the other ones
you know,
are
this-
agaricus.
Yeah, well, that's without seeing that the ball, the best I could get to is agaricus, you know.
Yeah, it's hard. Agaricus are really difficult to ID the species. There's a
Yeah.
900-page book on agaricus. I think that's just North America, actually. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're
Wow.
right.
900 pages. Phew.
And they all look alike. They're white.
Yeah, some of them are brown, but they're really, really hard. And does this thing have free gills? This looks like something different also. It looks like the gills are attached if we can get a close up. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
that's-
gills are attached. This is something else. It's
Yeah,
not
but
an
that's
agaricus.
that's very dry. Let's see the
Yeah,
go
but the
back to
gills are attached to the, oh wait, you can't really tell.
No, go back to the other darker that one. As you
Yeah,
zoom in.
this one, the gills are free. See, they don't reach the stalk. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
one good feature of agaricus. All agaricus species have
Okay.
free
so-
gills. But I couldn't quite tell. It looked like the gills were attached to the stalk, but the resolution washes out a little bit there where the gills end. And the stalk comes up and meets the cap. It's hard to see if there's a little annulus there or if the gills are actually meeting the stalk. But this one you can see like there's a little annulus there.
The white ring is the annulus.
Well, usually the word annulus is applied to the ring made by the partial veil. which is
Oh, okay.
kind of
Partial veil,
ragged and
yeah.
hanging.
Yeah,
But sometimes the word annulus is used to describe more or less smooth area between the termination of the gills, the inner termination, and where the stalk meets the cap. Sometimes there's like a little blank, smooth area.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times with agaricus, you'll see that. But the gills are always free on agaricus.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that here. It looks like that little white ring is the edge of those gills before they dip in.
There's marking the termination of the gills, and you can see it comes up short of the stalk.
Yeah.
And
then,
so
and it
that makes
slopes
it
in
pretty easy
sharply
to
down to the stalk.
Yeah, that makes it pretty easy to see these gills are free. The other thing though, with that really sort of wrinkly, scaly cap, well, this we don't know, but I think it's probably an Amanita. I don't think
they
that's
may
an
not.
agaricus.
Maybe Amanita sitting in the same flower bed.
Same area, right?
Yeah.
But it looks here like the gills might be attached to the stalk, but I can't quite tell because see the resolution kind of washes
Yeah, no, but
out.
this very desiccated. That stalk is very shrunk.
Yeah, and the
It's
stalk
difficult.
is shrunk too. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like those. It looks like those are attached. Actually, I think those gills are attached. So I don't know what could this thing be. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's just very dried up.
Well,
But
the gills are also quite pale for an old agaricus.
Oh, for the agaricus, yeah, it's white.
So it looks like you
Maybe
probably
this.
have
I mean,
two or three things in this collection here.
Yeah.
Yep. Looks like three species at
Three
least.
different
Yep.
species there. Okay, and growing in a vegetable bed, fertilized with elephant dung. There you have it.
So not Orvensis.
Not the Arvensis, agaricus, whatever. And what do you call it? Just I'll separate the pictures.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for sharing, man.
Thanks.
Okay, Marisol.
Hey, Marius. Marius?
Yeah.
I found another, on iNaturalist, I found another observation of lacewing's eggs.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
similar to yours.
Okay.
I
Great.
just put it on the chat. It's on the chat right now.
All right, thank you very much.
You just search for lacewing, you're going, and eggs, you're going to find it anyway.
All right, thanks.
Okay, ready, Marisol?
Yeah. Okay, those are from Sunday. There was a pile of sand with pebbles deep in the woods in Franklin Parker, next to a road, and I found this, and I thought they were hebelomas, but then Nina told me they were tricholomas. I don't know, and it was incredible because there was just sand and pebbles there, and there were many of them, but of course there were pines and oaks, mostly white pine, and I picked a few, and I did some micro. Tricholomas don't have too many features on their gills. I did the spore print, and then I took a photo of the spores.
On this one, you can see pretty well. You can see there's notched gills up in there.
Yep. And that's how I found it, with that pebble on the top. And then I moved the pebble and took another photo. It's incredible. Those are the spores. The spores, the pebble tricho. The spores range from 2.9 to 3.7 by 8.6 the maximum, but I don't know the name yet.
Certainly look like tricholoma spores, hyaline with a gutule.
And I was looking for some tricholomas online, and I found few, but I am not sure that my spores are not, they're too big to match any muricatum or fracticum or pesundatum or imbricatum. And the only thing that I could find extra info is so bitter. When they were mentioning about bitterness, I went to and I tasted. Oh boy, what a horrible bitter taste on the cap. And then I got sand inside my mouth, and I was like spitting it because it was covered in sand. And yeah, and I don't know what it is. Nina and John, do you know which one is this?
No, because every time I think it's something, ego does the DNA and it turns out to be something else.
Also,
That's right. We're going to rewrite the story on tricholomas of FPP. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Too old, too frostbitten.
No, but I found fresh ones too.
But it may still have DNA.
Nina took one too. They found it also. Yeah. Nina, did you try it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what these things are. I mean, they're frustrating. What did ego found? What albobrunium?
Albobrunium. Well, it's not quite albobrunium. It's close to it. Yeah. We have our own North American albobrunium.
Close to albobruneum.
Yeah, I can forward you an observation that is definitely something close to albobrunium. Yes.
Okay.
And the gills are not white; they're kind of brownish. It's from section Genuina.
Genuina? Oh, cool. Section Genuina. Nice.
Genuina, yeah. There's a bunch of them there.
All right. All right. That was amazing. Just in the sand. All right. In the same pile of sand, and pebbles, there were birch, white pine, and then Brandon found this growing at the base of birch that was still alive. That was very strange. Can you show the next photo? Please. Okay, that's what he found. I saw them Pictoporus betulinus, and then he saw this at the base. So I took it home, and I cannot match it with, I thought it was sublateritium, but the spores are too big. It doesn't match. Or too big or too small.
The spores up to 9.3. That is pretty big.
See, they don't match what the description of sublateritium. And a birch is a deciduous wood, so I don't know what else it could be.
Looks just like sublateritium, or well, actually it's lateridium now. It got promoted.
Oh, it went back?
It's later. Well, oh, why did it go from sublateridium to lateridium back to sublateridium?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. No, you know more than me. I don't know.
I think it's
It is lateridium. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So I took a piece of the gills, the edge of the gill, and I saw this Caelocystidia. And where is the info here? Tricoloma, no. Hypholoma. And they said that I read a little bit about hypholomas, and there is something very particular about them, and the cystidia is called Chrysocystidia or Chrysocystidia. I don't know if it is something that has yellow contents. I couldn't see that.
You have to mount in KOH to see the yellow contents.
Yes, yeah. I read that later, and then I did another mount, and the spores turned yellow with the KOH. But I couldn't find that effect that they were talking about, the Chrysocystidia. But I saw these ones before I did the KOH. I did the Congo red.
You know what? I find the Chrysocystidia most often in Hypholoma capnoides, which is pretty similar to lateridium. But I've looked a few times at lateridium and couldn't find any Chrysocystidia.
See, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but this looks like lateridium, but boy, those spores sure are big for lateridium. They shouldn't be. They should only be up to about 8.
Yeah, 8.6 and 9.3. I even have a large one, 9.3.
Oh, so there was. You know what? on some of my Hypholoma collections, I see one or two spores that are way out of line with the other ones. They're like outliers. They're way too big.
See, it's
So
like few of them.
That might be something that happens with these wood inhabiting Hypholoma species. I don't know, but they certainly, I would call this Lateridium.
See,
Look at the
Lateridium.
color of the caps. You know,
Okay.
they're clearly Hypholoma.
Yeah.
They're growing on hardwood.
It was kind of cool. And I learned something new about the Chrysocystidia and the spores, that they have a yellowish, they turn yellowish with KOH. I just didn't know that, so that was a cool thing to learn.
Is this in KOH?
In KOH, but I did my preparation first in Congo red, so I messed it up. But
these,
I did it again, and then they were, no, this is in Congo. You can see the other structures are red. So yeah, this is Congo. Yep.
Yeah, if you mount gill material in KOH, the Chrysocystidia really stand out. In fact, I should have sent, I have a few recent observations of Capnoides where I photographed some of them. I
Oh,
should have sent,
Lateridium. Yeah, but the Chrysocystidia is present.
yeah, I should have sent that to Luke now. I forgot to send that one in. I've got a few of them.
So that's Lateridium. Cool. All right. This one, I also found it, few of us found this one. I found it on pine needles, and then Liz found it on oak leaves, and it was so hard to take a photo. But this one came okay, but you should see the other photos. It was almost impossible because the cap was 2 millimeters and the stipe was 1.5 centimeters. So can you imagine that thing? And this is pretty bad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's the one on the oak. This is the one on pine needles. Same idea. It's like 2 millimeters cap. I tried so hard and I couldn't do it.
Probably some kind of mycetinus.
I work on its micro, and it has the broom cells. Oh, and because it was so tiny, I could hardly take a piece of the cap, but I managed. And there are the broom cells, like on this photo, from the cap. They are already yellowish from the cap. And there are these broom cells also on the gills between the basidia. And the shape of the spore is so neat. Look at the spores. I couldn't get a spore print, of course, so I got this from the preparation. And this hifa, golden hifa, with very finely ornamented, is from the cap. I took so many photos. It was so much fun to see these broom cells. They look like a broccoli with a branch of a broccoli head crown. Yeah, very long.
So this is a gymnopus. Yeah, I know there are some gymnopus that look like this. That looks like it should be in mycetinus. That's interesting.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Because it looks a lot like Mycetinus scorodonius.
But that one will be very big. This is
it would be bigger. Yeah,
thing.
it would dwarf these little things. But it does look like it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You're right. The
So,
dark stipe and the lighter cap. Yeah, go ahead.
So they'll grow in either oak or pine.
Both, I think.
Very cool. Pretty little mushroom.
I didn't even see it. I went down to get a photo of Scleroderma meridionale. When I saw it down below the vegetation, it was so tiny. And then you sit down in there and you start seeing a million things. Yeah. All right. All right. So this seems to be a very, very common tricoloma, but I couldn't help it. So I took a photo. I noticed that the cap is very, like, it has texture, some kind of sticking up fibers. And when I went to read about tricolomas, this species has a particular structure on the fibers of the cap. So I did the micro on the cap and I did the spores. So you'll see that in the photos. Those are the spores. The spores match the species, and you can see that how fibrous it is on the cap.
Under pines, right?
Yeah, look at the pine needles. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Franklin Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very common. We had 4 collections of this thing sequenced from last year.
We were talking about you.
Nina found 4 collections from a different park and gave them to me, and we sequenced them. They're all the same. They're the same species, but different organisms. They had differences in the DNA, which means that they're not the same organism.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, we don't have to sequence this thing again.
Yeah,
we know how it looks like, and so I completely agree with you, Maricel. This is Terreum.
Okay, okay. Yeah. And I did the micro. Oh, I didn't post the photo. Oh, geez.
No, just these 4.
Messed up. Okay. Oh, I did the cap, and then I look online for spores, and they told me about the fibers. I have the photo eventually. Oh, okay. Yeah, do it. And then Brandon found this. There was a lot of Cortinarius semisanguineus, and he found this parasite growing on it, on a kind of dry and frozen Cortinarius semisanguineus, and I took it home, and you see it right here on the photo. It looks greenish. When you look in the microscope, it's whitish, not green. I didn't see any green at all. And it has the strangest structures. It has 2 things going on the same thing. And it looks like molds, like on your skin, molds. And I could not detach it from the cap. It was mingled with the hiva on the cap surface. And wait, come back to the first one. So there are 2 things going on. So here there are these globose structures are producing secondary spores. Let me just use simple words. These big red spores are producing secondary spores, and many of them. And these red spores were born in chains. You'll see, maybe I posted a photo or maybe not, but I took a lot of photos. And that's one thing happening. And then can you show the other ones? And then this is the other thing going on in the same fruiting body. There were these hairs. It was very hairy. So you can see some of the hairs on the right, and those are the spores or conidio, whatever name that they are. They are born in chains, but they are longer. And some of them have up to 4 divisions. You can see the one on the right has 2 divisions and is already giving a secondary spore below it, at the tip underneath. The one that has the, yep. And they are, the longer spores that I'm showing there, they are born on long conidia. You're going to see better photos for that. All right. Oh, this is one of them shooting other spores. I thought that was so cool. And right there, you can see one is being born and one on the right is starting, and one on the upper center is starting to. They each have different shapes. The long ones were born from this conidia. That one has 4 segments. I still didn't have any chance to, these are the chains of the first structure that I showed you. But I don't understand is why 2 things are happening at the same time in the same fruiting body. So I didn't have a time to ask anybody for any ideas, but it was really interesting.
I mean, there's bubble like structures that you meaning?
What did you say?
Was it like bubbles structures?
Chains of globose structures, yeah.
Yeah. Could it be another microorganism that's co-inhabiting the fungus?
Yeah, but I don't know why 2 things are happening together. It's what I don't know. Yeah. Oh, the size. It was 1 millimeter. Those things are 1 millimeter wide.
That's what I
But
think is
tiny.
maybe multicellular organisms. Could it be?
I don't really know, but it's fungal. Yeah, it was cool. I never saw that before. Yeah. Thank you.
My thought on it was the timeline. I don't think it can be. I mean, Justin was telling me that it can't be a lichen. I don't think mold can. This type of mold can mature on a fungus within the time that this fruit body was out, but I don't know.
Oh, this is fungal. I can.
It is, yeah.
I can tell, yeah. Yeah, but the way I said that before, it was tangled, or how do you say that? With the hiva from the cap of the Cortinarius. I could not separate it. It was so weird. And it was like gelatinous, but hard. Very strange. And hairy, you can see that it has some kind of fuzzy aspect. Really cool.
It's a, do you think it's something asexual, right?
Yeah.
It's an asexual fungus is what we're
Yeah.
looking at here. All right, cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Maricel.
Thank you.
All right, I have a few here from, I guess, going on a week and a half ago now, from down in the Pine Barrens. This is Spongipellus unicolor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Look, what area did you go?
This was Tabernacle,
Oh, okay.
like the Carranza Memorial,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yes.
that area. Yep. So growing
Luke,
on.
Did you make it to the train tracks there by any chance?
You know, I was right around the train tracks, but I didn't actually go on the train tracks today or this time.
Is the road still pretty horrible?
Which road? The main road?
After you pass that memorial place?
I don't know. I always park at the memorial and then walk through the campground and do
Okay,
I have like a loop that I walk. I walk down to the creek and then I kind of like circle around, and there's a swamp. I kind of circle around the swamp area.
I think that I went far down. The road was full of holes.
I don't doubt it. I think it starts to get pretty bad around that memorial.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So this is growing on an oak tree. These things are about 6 inches wide. Always a single fruiting body. I never see more than one fruiting body at once.
Do you have a photo of the pore surface?
I do. So I kind of put them in order here so you can kind of see what is on there. And then there you go.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Awesome, Luke. Is that pore surface very hard?
It is. Yeah, it feels, I don't know, always kind of reminds me of bone, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not as hard as bone, but maybe it's because it looks like the nasal cavity from like a deer skull or something. But it is
harder than it looks like it maybe should be.
Yeah,
and sometimes whiter than this.
Yeah,
it looks dark.
Yeah, this is dark. I was like, I didn't want to rip it off the tree because there's only one of them. So I was photographing it up into the tree. It's also old too. So it's starting to get hard.
Oh, did you ever pick one fruiting body?
Did I ever pick one? I'm sure I've picked them before.
Yeah, they're so light.
Yeah, you're right. They are. They're
super light. It's like pure air, like holes inside or something like that.
Do they feel like almost foam on top if you poke the cap surface? Does it feel like you can almost compress it?
Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and since Marisol said that, how light it is, it does kind of remind you of like a piece of styrofoam.
I found something similar, but with smaller pores on oak. Is there a multiple species like that, or with different
I mean,
tubular structures?
Yeah, there's a lot of polypores out there. that grow on oak.
On oak, like that particular shape. And white.
What else could be like that? Yeah, nothing that's I'm ringing a bell right off the top of my head.
I'll go have a look.
The pores are real deep in these. If you cut it in half, they're very deep.
Which I guess is why it's so light, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for sharing this one, because I'm pretty sure I found it maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was really fresh. And yeah, found a bunch of them, and they were super light. So thank you.
Okay. Hey, you're welcome. Uh-oh. So bad. How I cut off something here. Okay, this one I was just curious. Anybody out there had any idea on this? It was a Rasupanate polypore. It was growing on pine. I'm pretty sure it was conifer, really well-rotted conifer with a brown cubical rot. And it was really soft.
Trechispora.
Trachyspora?
There are two. Yep.
Okay. And I couldn't get any spores off of it.
Oh.
It dried out so quickly on me.
Yeah, but you can spray it again and try it again. You may get them.
So like super soft, like I could wipe it off with my
Yes,
fingers.
yes, they are very delicate. Yep.
Okay. Do they cause
And
they cause a brown rot?
no, that I don't know. I don't know that yet.
Okay, that makes sense. That sounds familiar. Like I've seen
The
them
spores
before.
are with tips, super tiny.
Okay. Interesting pore structure on them. Very daloid. Cool. Thank you, Marisol.
Or if you do a little smash, maybe you'll find the spores, then it will confirm that it may be a Trechispora.
Yeah, I'll think it. I have a dried piece and there's a piece still in my fridge.
You can put alcohol, you know that, yeah? To soften them.
Ah, okay.
Or water, I do water.
Yeah, you know what I do a lot of times with these things
KOH.
is I do take my standard, especially when the polypores are a little bit more dried, is I get my piece as soon as I can get it and I put isopropyl alcohol on it. And I wait until that isopropyl alcohol is almost completely evaporated. And then I drop either water or KOH on it. And supposedly that helps get rid of the air bubbles in it too.
Oh, I read about it. Yep.
So I always do that, whether it's doing anything or not, I don't know. I mean, I still have air bubbles in it, but it seems like it helps. Let's see here.
Marisol, can you type that name in?
Yeah.
Gina?
Oh yeah.
I had a broken link in my things that I sent. If you want to see.
Look.
Yes.
And this Trechispora have a cool, if it has a cool inflated clamp. It's called ampullate clamp. One side of the connection is swollen like a bone, and the other one is narrower. It's really cool. Many Trechisporas have it because there are Trechisporas crossed without pores, and these two have pores.
I say. Okay, yeah, I'll have to bust the microscope out and look at that one. All right, we've seen a lot of these this year, but if we look at it one more time, this Onia tomatosa. So about 4 inches across, kind of hairy, tomentose, starting to wear a little bit, growing with conifer, as you can see here. So that is, I don't want to rip the whole thing up. I was I wasn't going to take it with me or anything, so I didn't feel like ripping it out of the ground or out of the piece of wood. So I just cut a little triangle out of here just to look at the context. And then also to look at the pore surface, which I never really looked at the pore surface on these when they were really mature, but they were pretty cool looking.
Mhm.
Very maze-like.
Yep. I found it on Sunday too,
Okay.
and it was at the neck of the tree, between the ground and the beginning of the trunk,
Mhm.
just right there.
Yep. Yep, I think that's where this was too. There was, I think it was a stump, but it was, yeah, it's right there at the, I guess they call it the buttress roots.
Okay.
And this one was still fresh enough that it was sprucing where my fingers touched it right there.
Mhm. Even on the edge.
Yeah, yep,
Yep.
all along there.
Mhm.
This is often misidentified as Phyolus schweinitzi. It has a very similar growth habitat in that just what you said, that it's, I think Tom Vogt used to call it a butt rot. That is, it's right where the tree trunk goes into the ground, but it's on the roots there.
Mm.
It has that indeterminate growth, and also the pattern of the pore surface is very similar to Phyolus, although the Phyolus would be kind of a greenish yellow or brown like this when it's older, but it has no dye properties whatsoever. Well, at least to me, it doesn't.
Cool.
Does that pore surface sometimes deteriorate and kind of turn into teeth, making it more look kind of like a hydnellum or something along those lines?
No teeth.
Never that I've seen, but to be honest with you, I've not seen these often enough to like have a good understanding of what they look like when they get old.
Didn't you just find this one?
No, yes, I did find this, and I find them often, but they're always fresh when I find them. And
Oh.
I guess what Brandon's asking is if when they get older, if they will turn into teeth. And I can't say that I've ever actually can remember seeing an old one.
I just found one on Sunday and it looked like yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only difference that it had a lot of grubs, like larvas inside.
Ah,
Yeah, when I did this section, the cross section to see what you were showing with the pores,
mhm,
these poor insects were falling off.
okay.
Mhm.
Now, this is one of them that was noted in Philadelphia in the early 20th century, but I have never seen one of these in Philadelphia, nor are there any observations on Mushroom Observer or iNaturalist in the Philadelphia area. So it doesn't seem like it's around here right now.
Do you find that Pinellus in Philly?
Which one? The Spongipellus?
Pinellus. I think it was.
Phyolus. Phyolus.
Oh, yeah. That one we do find. Phyolus schweinitzi. I do see that one.
Yeah, it's edged it out in the same habitat.
Interesting. Yeah, good thought. All right.
Used to be very common in northern New Jersey, but that goes back quite a few years for me.
Okay, I have this Tricholoma, which I just identified it off the top of my head. So if this doesn't seem right, please correct me. Tricholoma fumoso-luteum. Pretty intense yellow with that kind of smoky center to it. White gills, a little off-white. I was pretty sure that's what that was. Fumoso-luteum. So smoky yellow. And my last one, Chaptum Violaceum. Which I'm not 100% confident in separating these out from Aviatum. But I call this one Fusco Violaceum because it was growing on conifer. Well, it was growing on Atlantic white cedar. But when you look at the pores, these are much more tooth-like. Whereas the Aviatum, Trichaptum aviatum, tends to be more pore-like.
So there is Aviatum and Aviatinum? What?
Yeah, Aviatum is how you call it.
Aviatum? Which one do you think is this one?
This is Fusco Violaceum.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And I
Was there a purple cast toward the edge of the cap?
Yes. Yes, they definitely are. Like, there's more purple actually in there on this one. They're kind of a purplish brownish color. I think when they're really fresh, they're really purple, but they quickly kind of fade. That's the top of it.
Oh, wow.
And this is what they look like growing on a tree. So, little cedar. So anyway, those are my 5.
So as far as the trichaptums go around here, I know we have biforma, the other one you just mentioned, as well as this one.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. And then there's a few more species in North America. There's one down south. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but there's one down south that's really common and widespread. And then there's one that's a little further north that's restricted more to what are they? Tamarick trees, I think. Isn't that a northern tree? Tamaricks.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one that's restricted to tamaricks that's considered its own species. So at least 5 in North America, but probably more.
And this one, Fusco, what was it? Fusco Violaceum.
Mm-hmm.
Cedar. Do any of the others grow on cedar?
Yeah.
I bet you would find that
Abatinum.
Abatinum on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Abatinum and this one. Yeah, they're like conifers.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. And Dave.
Okay, I got some of these are the same things as I showed last week, but not the same observations. So they're like updates. So I went back to Ricketts Glen and found more of this Dacrymyces corticoioides. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I found this the other day, a different hemlock log than the first observation. But they look the same. The spores are the same. And the one difference between the description of Dacrymyces corticoioides in the literature and these is in the literature it says the spores are 1 to 3 septate, but these had no septa. They have gutules in them, 1 to 3 gutules. So it looks like there's separate sections in the spore sometimes, but I don't think that that's the case. I think there's just these gutules in there. But the spore size matches pretty well with Dacrymyces corticoioides. I keep getting like 13 to 17, 5 to 7. These were I think 12 to 17, 5 to 6. I think I have written down here. And if you go in the middle of the picture, yeah, you can see the spores a little better there. Then there's a picture right at the end taken through my binocular scope. It's hard to get good pictures through one eyepiece of the binocular scope, but you can see in the other picture, you can see some of the gutules. So that picture, you can see gutules. It almost looks like they're septate, but those are gutules that are in their little round oil drops, I guess they call them in there. Yeah, like right there. So that's not septate. The picture's a little bit, resolution's not great, so it's a little bit misleading. But they are. I couldn't find any septa on any of these spores. So I tried some of these. I mean, if someone wants them for study or for sequencing or something, I'll have two collections of these, one from the one hemlock and this collection that I got from a different hemlock. It seems like a pretty interesting species. So they're small. None of these fruit bodies, individual fruit bodies are as big as a centimeter. They're all smaller than a centimeter.
And you're finding them now, huh?
Yeah, I found the other ones, the last week I showed the other collection that I had made from a different log. So I found them on a different hemlock log. And I think Marisol found what we think is the same thing on pine.
No, I'm not sure about the wood because it was decorticated.
Oh, you weren't sure about the wood.
But
Okay.
there were pines and oaks, but I couldn't tell which one.
Oh, okay. I think this is reported as a growing on conifer. Well,
Oh,
most
okay.
Saccharomyces grows on conifer wood, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I know Trisospermus does. I'm not sure about all of them. But I think this one, what I read about this one, I think it grows on pine and,
Okay.
and other conifers.
Cool.
I want to find it now.
I got good spore drops.
Marisol's observation looked brownish to me.
Yeah, hers was darker.
Oh,
And
because
that is the color range is described as sometimes tending toward brown. In fact, I think the one thing I read said brownish, but everything else about mine matches pretty well with this Corticoides.
mine was kind of frozen too. So that could alter the aspect.
Well, the ones
was
I've been
pretty
finding,
color.
I'm sure they were frozen for a while. It's been cold here. And Ricketts Glen is in a really cold area. Okay, so I went back to where I found what I had thought was Stecturinum ocratium, and which is supposedly grows mostly on hardwood and rarely on conifer. Usually is a little more ochre flavored than these. And I found the log that they're on, found it today, and it is hemlock. It's a great big hemlock log. And it's the same log because I compared some of my photos of some in situ pictures that I took, and I actually identified tiny little parts of this fruit body, of this fruiting that were obviously the same, and the pictures look the same. So this is the same log. So I took more pictures this time. I tried to get a better idea of the overall morphology of this. So what do you call it? It's called reflexed or refluxed. I think it's reflexed, right? When one of these resupinate things pushes off into a little bit of a cap.
Effused reflex.
Effused reflex. Effused reflex. Okay, yeah, the last picture. The picture before this one shows that. Yeah, there's like little caps.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
with
that
this thing.
that's reflexed.
Yeah.
That's reflexing off the wood.
Right. That was my take on that word. Yeah. So, and this thing is clearly hydnoid. The hymenium is its spines. And if you look at a close up on one of these, there they are. And they're pretty good size, you know, a millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters. For, well, about a millimeter for most of these. This is really blown up. But still, it's clearly, I can't find anything else besides Stecturinum ochoroides, or, oh, I'm sorry,
Crasseum.
Ocratium.
Yeah, there is one more. There is one more. Stecherinum bourdotii.
It's not hydnoid though. This other one. The other Stecturinums that I found are not hydnoid. They're poroid.
I'm sorry, but Stecherinums are hydnoid. Bourdotii has the cap more pronounced.
I can't find a single other thing that's got spines. Everything was poroid that I found. What was the and there were some species names told to me last week, and I looked them up, and every description or picture that I found was pores.
I know what you're talking about, Marisol. Here, I'll take the name in the chat.
I was going to. Okay, I couldn't find it. Okay, go ahead.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And they're definitely you're right. They're hydnoid.
Bourdotii.
DTI.
Yeah, I'll wait and I'll write it down.
There you go.
B-O-U-R.
Oh, I think I looked that one up, and all I found was stuff with pores, but maybe not. Maybe I didn't look that one up. No, you know what? I don't think I looked. I don't think I looked this one up. Okay, I'll look that up. All right, thanks. Because maybe that's what I'm getting. I don't know. I didn't get any spores out of this yet, and the structures on the so I got a little bit better look at some of the structures on one of the spines, and they honestly don't look like these encrusted cystidia that you're supposed to find. These cystidia, if that's what they are, these might be bastidia. I'm not even sure.
No, it's cystidia.
Those are cystidia. Okay.
I'll tell you the name. I have it.
Yeah, but they're just club shaped, and they don't appear to be encrusted. And there's another picture I got of some cells or something coming off the spine that were just long and thin. I think it's a picture before this one, maybe.
It's Skeletocystidia for Stecherinum. Skeletocystidia. It's very long. It comes from the bottom of the flesh, if I can say that. And it pokes out, it exerts.
So there were these were coming out of the same spine. And so, but they weren't encrusted. You know,
No, that doesn't look like the cystidia, yeah.
Yeah. Now, last week when I found them in the same exact spot, it's the same fruiting, I thought I had found some cystidia that looked like they were encrusted, but it wasn't really a good picture. And there were two of them that were very close to one another. And I think that made it a little difficult to assess. So, but these seem not encrusted, these two things. And the other ones are just club shaped, and they look kind of smooth, actually. So okay, so I'll check this other thing out. What is it? Bourdodii. All right, I'll look that up. And up until recently, there's been these Mycena mushrooms coming up. There's quite a few of them. And I found them on like 3 different hemlock logs. They were growing in a fairly dark area. So this picture was taken with a flash, and then I tried to adjust the brightness and the color. That was about as good as it got. So that's not completely natural look, but that's the way they grow. And these are I'm pretty sure they're Mycenas. They have amylate spores. There's a picture of some that were harvested. It's coming up here. I've got a few other pictures. And you can see in that picture, they really look a lot more like Mycenas here. I don't know, can you see any striations on the cap margin? Let's see if we zoom in on that. I think, I know there's another one. I found a single one on a stump, and I didn't put that into a post. And that other one clearly had striations. So there are striations here. They're pretty, Actually, the one in the upper left, it looks like you can see some striations.
Or the bottom right.
Bottom right, okay. Yeah, oh, yeah, I see that. But yeah, because I did see some faint striations on these. And yeah, they match pretty well with Mycena aprilis, which is supposed to be a spring species, early spring. Like when there's snow on the ground and the snow melts, then sometimes these will come out. But we've had snow already. We've had snow at Ricketts Glen. There's been some snow on the ground. There's been freezing conditions. And then it gets, we've had a lot of this up and down temperature stuff where it's really cold and then it gets, you know, then it's in the 50s again for a day or two, maybe even close to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And so then these guys come out. So I guess, you know, it's supposedly a springtime mushroom, but I think that's what I'm getting. The spores measurements that I have are a little bit different, not quite as, I think maybe a little bit shorter than what's reported in on the Quebec site. And I believe this is like a provincial species, provisional species from Yves Lameron, I'm pretty sure. So it might not be a published species yet. But these pretty much look like what they're supposed to be Mycena aprilis. Very small, cold weather. Mycenas, relatively small, lacrimoid spores. Lacrimoid means shaped like teardrops. So you can see here that some of them have that sort of teardrop shape. And they're not too big. I think my spores are I'm only getting spores that are, I think, pretty much less than 7 microns long. I wrote down a measurement here, I think. Oh, it's on the picture. I think that the heading on the picture says, gives the measurements that I got. Pretty small though.
What's the name?
Mycena aprilis, like the month April. And then
Oh, Aprilis. Oh,
aprilis.
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Yeah, because they're supposedly come out in spring, but it seems to me like there's something that comes out after it's cold and it warms up, you know, and there's like maybe some snow melt, some ice. But we've had snow and ice here already.
Yeah. Cool.
This was on hardwood?
On hemlock.
Ah.
Yeah, I've been finding almost everything on hemlock. Even the saprobes I've been finding on hemlock. We have a lot. Ricketts Glen has lots and lots of big dead hemlock trees lying on the ground. There was that woolly adelgid took out a lot of the old growth hemlock trees in Ricketts Glen on the Falls Trail, and they don't clear out wood. They don't try to make the habitat, you know, the environment look nicer than it's supposed to. They let the wood lay there. They just push it off the trail. So, which makes this a great place to look for mushrooms.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a 15-minute drive from my house. So I mean, I could basically go there every day if I want. And it's a great place to go and look. Okay, I didn't get started until late. In fact, I sent this to Luke at like 7:01 or something. So that was all that I got together for this week.
Awesome.
I should have sent the Hyphiloma capnoides also. We could have seen the Trisocystidia.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to look at? Well, I do have something queued up here that we can look at if you like. These are INAT observations for the Fundus Biodiversity Survey from New Jersey. If you guys would like to look at some of this stuff. So for anybody that's not familiar with this project, it is on iNaturalist, And I think they're supposed to be making one. They said there's one coming soon for Mushroom Observer. This is a curated project on iNaturalist for fundus. So they're trying to do a North American fungal survey, and you have to specifically add your mushroom observations to this project. It won't get collected independently. So you have to actually specifically put your observations in here, and they're really looking for things that are only high quality photographs, which I've really been enjoying it, because one of my gripes about iNaturalist is there's so many observations that are really bad of mushrooms. So many just really poor photographs from people just randomly taking shots, not really thinking about it. I think a lot of non-mushroom people are doing that, but this project's curated. So I guess if you put anything in here that's not nice, they'll get kicked out.
Is
So
that first one Cotriciella?
What's that?
Is the first one Cotriciella dependens?
Well, let's take a look at it. So I pulled this up. So this is the identification page on iNaturalist. So if we open this up, we can look at it.
Yeah, that one's that's my post.
Oh, look, it's B-Rod.
Congratulations.
Well, look, we can identify it for you. Well, why didn't you show it to us?
I was going to, but
oh, okay.
Now I know how to find you.
Yeah, now we know who you are. B-Rod.
Yeah.
I just joined a couple weeks ago.
Just joined iNaturalist?
Yeah.
Or this project?
iNaturalist, and we talked about the fundus project maybe last week. So I tried to post one to it.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Nice find. These things are cool.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us about it since you're here?
Well, I mean, thank you to Marisol. She was the one that told me actually what it was the other day.
Okay.
But, I was kind of under the assumption that it was a wasp nest, the first thing that I saw. And then I saw the little, pendants, the little balls growing around it that looked more fungal than what I thought was the wasp nest. And then I saw some hair growing off of it. So tried to figure out what it was.
Nice. Yeah, it does look like a wasp nest. I would agree with that. All right, cool. Well, we can agree with that.
Wow. Cool.
So this is Kira. Some of us know Kira. So she put down Tulisnella violea on this. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I have seen it many times. It could be pine. Yep. It's a little too red. That's the only thing that scares me. Because usually it's pinkish lavender. But cold weather does all sort of things.
So we probably can't agree with that then, can we?
No.
Microscopy needed?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you said that.
Mm-hmm. Because I have found it so many times, but it's a little too red, so I cannot agree. Or maybe because it looks dry. No. If she could show at least the spores, then I'll be able to tell her.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Kiara too.
Yeah, I think she has a lot of stuff in here. Do we think this is Spiraceus?
Yeah, I think so. What's that one? Spatularia or something?
Spatulata. There is one right there.
Spatulata. Yeah, it's got the little spatulas, it looks like. The fronds look like little spatulas.
Spatulata. And somebody wrote that Sparacis crispa is an European species, I believe, unless the taxonomy has recently changed again.
Yes, that's Ann Baker. So she knows her stuff pretty well.
Okay.
She's a Philly person. She's a botany person. I know her from the Philadelphia Botanical
Nice.
Club. But, okay, so we think that is
Yeah.
Baculata.
Mhm.
I'm looking
Is
up,
there, is there a date on that?
There is August 16th.
Oh, okay.
So
Because you
Oh,
wouldn't
Why
find
not
it.
a Telophora?
yeah, we don't think this is a Thalafra. What's that one?
I
Sebacina?
don't think that's Telophora.
the
No, not
Sebacina.
Telephora. No, that's not Telephora.
That's
Sebacina.
Telephorum. Yeah. I don't think it's Sebacina either.
No, now they changed the name and several of them are called Sebacina. But if
Yeah.
this one is really big, then this, I don't know if they change Asparagus for Sebacina.
Sebacina schweinitzii.
No, it's for the other one. No, Asparagus is bigger, yeah?
Yeah, this isn't that big though. You're right. So I don't know. Could it be Sebacina? It looks more like Sparasis to me. It's
So that's-
organized into a little ball, sort of.
I don't know much about the other genus you were just talking about, but it doesn't
That.
look as fan-like.
No, it's not that. No,
I
it's
think it's young.
Asparagus. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's Sparasis.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's wider. Mhm. And like
Baculata.
truncated. Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that then.
Oh, nice photo.
Yeah.
Panis, yep. Oh wait, there's that. Oh, there's that really, really hairy thing that was taken out of Panis and put into something else, I
Is
think.
that Lentinus tortuosus or tortuosa, something like that?
Yeah, Latinus. Man, it's got a.
Or Lentinellus? I've had this up here, not recently though.
Yeah, there's two of those things that used to be.
See,
they used
one
to be
has hairs,
lenses.
Strigosus.
One has-
Strigosus.
One is smooth and one has hairs, right?
Strigosus.
Oh, strigosus, yeah, that could be.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, but that might have been put into a different genus now. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look it up here.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to find it. Yes.
Yeah, there is another name for that, I think.
See.
I think it's Lentinus, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. You know what? Tim Baroni
Yeah.
has it here as Panis neostrigosus.
Anus. That's yeah.
Panis neostrigosus.
Neostrigosus. I have the same name. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew there was some kind of change, but
You think-
it used to be just be strigosus. I don't know why it's, maybe because strigosus is European. That would seem to make sense.
Anus neostrigosus. Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah,
So we think
really
that-
nice.
So we
Nice
think that's what
groove.
it is.
I think so, yeah.
Canis neos. There we go. They were called, that's the name I was trying to think of. Lacomtii.
Oh, Lacomtii, right. Oh, right. That
That's-
might be, that's the current name. I knew there was some kind of big change there. Yeah, Lacomtii. I think that's the current one, at least on Mushroom Observer.
Yeah, that's what iNaturalist is using too.
Okay. Right, okay. Yeah, I knew there was some kind of, there's been a lot of changes on this one.
That's mine. I'm showing you.
Cornelius.
I haven't had the chance to review your email, Dave, but I will.
Well, there was just a bunch of things that are,
See, I know.
there was just a
yeah.
bunch of things that are ID'd as Cortinarius subgenus Telemonia. Because I think that's probably what that is. It's probably a Telemonia. But I just wanted you to look at a bunch of pictures to see that this being a small Cortinarius makes sense. And on Mushroom Observer, there's always been a little bit of confusion between the small quartz and the anosabes. And it's hard to explain what is the difference. I find it very difficult to explain, but yet when I look at them, usually I think I can tell the difference. But these I think are quartz. The gills, I think, look much more like quartz.
Right, cool. Yeah, I just have to study your ideas. I just didn't have it.
Yeah, and if it's something in the Anasabaceae, it should have at least a whole lot of Chylocystia that are pretty big.
No, it was too plain. No.
Yeah, quartz have like very few hymeneal cystidia. They're usually buried in the gills. You can, I mean, I can't even see them with my microscope.
Okay.
I saw your Facebook post about this, Maricel. Did anybody ever answer you? You were like asking if this
No,
stuff.
nobody. Yeah, I don't know any posters that are only the one that is gutulata, but I just have a chance to check. You know that gutulata, it has drops.
Yes.
And it's resupinate more than effuse, whatever you call it.
Do you think it's Tyramyces?
It smells like this perfume, wonderful, and the spores look like, I think, Tyramyces. I have seen in the cross fungi some Tyramyces that are resupinate, but I don't know which ones happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nor do I.
But at least got to the genus.
Can I ask you a question about the Trimides that we get around here? The Globosa, I think it is.
Gibbosa, yeah.
That doesn't grow resupinate ever, right?
I don't think normal.
Maybe if it starts growing and a log gets pushed over and then it's on the bottom.
And it kind of conjoins.
Yeah, it might be somewhat resupinate.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
like
mostly
trying to
cap.
find some light to poke a cap out toward. That I think that could happen with the Trimides gibbosa and the other Trimides as well.
We already work on this one.
You're right.
Look, and as far as we could be Grophorus.
Yeah, we talked about this one last week. I thought maybe a Clatosabe was a counter proposal here.
No, for these ones. That was before. This is something else.
Oh, this is a different one? Oh.
Yes, different one. Yeah, this is the recent. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to agree.
Hygrophorus. Yeah.
Hygrophorus.
Okay, Hygrophorus. Yep.
Yeah, I did the micro and it's Excidia glandulosa.
Yeah, it looks like Excidia. It looks like Excidia glandulosa also. Does it have tiny little pointed dots on it?
Like projections. Yes.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yep.
You can see it in the photo. It's pretty bad, but you can see
they're
it.
hard to see. They're really small.
Yeah, you can,
I can see it. You can see
Oh,
it.
you can see them. Okay. Yeah, I can see them.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Like kind of.
And they really look like glands. They're just like these.
This was super tiny.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then you have spores too.
Yeah, and the cross section. Yeah.
Nice.
I managed to get the spores. I love it. They were so huge.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting.
Oh, they're really big for this one. Okay.
They're like sausages, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all the
one on the
Excidia.
left. Oh my goodness, the one on the left is really huge. And the one on the top too. Yeah.
That one.
Another one. This one was a little bigger, and I did the micro and the same thing. Look at that shape in the middle.
Yeah.
Like a peanut. Yeah.
I'm looking at Baroni's book here, Glandulosa, as opposed to Recissa. And Recissa now is some other name. I forget, Crenata or something.
Crenata, yeah.
Yeah. The spores are not all that different. Glandulosa, they go from 10 to 16. And Recissa, they go from 10 to 14.
Yeah, but the fruiting bud is different than those that are
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm just pointing out here that actually it's the morphology that's more important for this distinction, as you just more or less agreed to.
Can
And
I ask can I ask a question about that morphology?
Yeah.
So what was it exactly that you guys were looking at? Was it that little crown?
There's tiny little projections. They're really small. I mean, if you were to measure these projections, they're like a fraction of a millimeter. They're like little pimples, sort of, that are really, really
So
small.
kind of towards the center of the clock there.
They're all over. They're all
everywhere.
over. They're all
They're
over the
everywhere.
thing.
So Brandon, if you look at this one right here, within here, all these little teeny dots are what they're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
See the little grains over here? You can see more grains.
But that's
Yeah.
just one morphological difference. I think the thing that's the first thing you're gonna notice is Exidia glandulosa looks like glands, like blobs that are, you know,
More spherical almost.
yeah,
Fish.
like
Fish.
flattened spheres, sort of. But Recissa looks like ears, kind of.
Almost like auricularia.
Yes,
almost.
it could easily be mistaken for auricularia, and a lot of beginners do.
Okay.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
difference is that the Exidia crenata or recisa, you touch it and it trembles. It's
Yeah, yeah.
softer than auricularia. Auricularia is
Yeah.
like hard rubber.
Yeah,
And-
that's right.
and
Yeah, it's very flimsy.
Exidia is more jelly-like.
Yes, more jelly-like, very
Gotcha.
flimsy. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it tends to form these bunches that just fuse together, and
Oh,
rather
yeah.
than, but sometimes they look like individual ears also. So I shouldn't say that.
I think Exidia also sometimes flowers out. Is that the right word? Where it isn't as spherical and it becomes more kind of abstract in
Yeah,
It's
it's
jelly
more
form?
amorphous really than
Amorphous.
auricularia forms like these nice ears, which
Okay.
that's where it got its name from. And
Cool.
yeah, so
Look at this wood
yeah,
here.
good question though. Good question about. And then there's another one, Exidia. There's one more. Let me see if it's mentioned in here. It may have been lumped in with the others.
Nigricans?
Oh, there's that one too. I forgot about that one.
Is there like
That
a
one looks like glandulosa, actually.
is there like a recisis or something?
There was this one that was supposed to be yellow, but I'm not even sure that's even in Exidia anymore. I don't know. I don't want to hold things up here. So I'm not sure what I'm talking about right now. I'd have to do a little research.
I was going to point out, look at this wood. Does it have, it's starting to have that look like the stuff that Hervé was showing earlier? You can
Oh,
see,
yes.
Oh, look at that.
you can see all these
Oh.
rays and you can
Yes.
see the holes.
Those are not as well organized into little colonies though, like Hervé's.
But there is a rhythm there.
There, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
maybe in another couple years, it might look like Hervé's.
I think this is a
Yeah.
maple.
That's a maple. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we saw that one, but then here's another jelly.
I didn't have a chance to. There is one that is Phaeotremella foliosa, but there is another one that I don't remember what's the name. that
Yeah,
goes
there's,
with
it
the
also
stereum.
starts with F, I think.
The one related with the
Um,
stereum. This is the one, but I couldn't find the name.
I think one's on hardwood and one's on conifer.
No, related to with the stereum. It makes the difference. This one was
Related,
with the
I'm sorry,
stereum.
related
Oh,
to
It's
what?
good. That one. It was completely
Stereum.
reformed.
Oh,
Are you, Marisol,
Oh.
are you saying the species of the Phaeotremella
It's
is
the name
obligate to the
yes.
species of the stereum?
that is parasitizing the stereum because
yeah,
one
but
is
you might not,
foliosa.
but you might not see the stereum because it's probably parasitizing the mycelium that's in the wood.
Yeah, but in this case, the stereum is right there.
Yeah, well, sometimes you see it and sometimes you don't. I've had this discussion with people on Mushroom Observer. People have claimed occasionally that, oh, there's no stereum there. It can't be tremula. That's right, Tremula mesenterica, which also parasitizes stereum, I believe. And okay, yeah, you can't see the stereum because it's not fruiting, but it's parasitizing the mycelium. But anyway, let me look. Let me look.
See,
I
there
think
is, and there is one called Foliacea and Racemosa, but I couldn't.
Foliacea
have
and
to take the
Formosa,
time
right? They both begin with F, and they look a little bit different from what I remembered.
I know
Um,
Foliosa because I found it before on pine trees with Igor long time ago.
and it might be conifer versus hardwood.
This is
I'm trying to
hardwood,
find. Yeah,
the
but I,
same maple. This is the same
it
maple
looks
tree.
like
So I'm
514.
I'm looking on Mushroom Observer and they say Phaeotrimella frondosa
Oh, frondosa.
is found on wood of hardwoods.
Yes.
Uh,
And then it
Frondosa.
does go on to say, well, brown color, well-developed individual lobes, which are more foliate.
oh yeah, there's one that's like really leafy, and the other is more. That's right. One of them is leafy.
The
That's
leafy one is
Foliacea
called
because
Foliosa. Mhm.
yeah, that one's leafy.
know it,
And
I
the
know
other
it.
one I think is almost looks like an Exidia. It's just like globs. I think that might be the difference.
Frondosa then?
You think frondosa? I mean, yeah. And
Yeah, I think frondosas.
the mushroom
or-
expert does say complicatum as well.
Oh, nice. Frondosa. Okay, cool. Y frondosa.
Do you guys know this trick with iNat? You don't have to type the whole,
Oh, yes. I'm using it. That's so cool. Thank you.
just
Look.
go like this and
Mhm.
Garrett Taylor showed me that.
Thank you.
So we're gonna say on hardwood with Mysterium complicata. All right, what the heck is this thing?
It's a polyp. Guys, don't worry about that. It's a polyp.
You're working on it.
I'm going to send it for DNA.
Yeah.
Nobody helped me. Nobody said anything.
Is it how big is that?
It's super tiny, like 2 inches.
You probably want to wait till you have more information to show us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I understand. Okay, here's a cool one. Trimatopsis cervina. Cool. Has a reflexed cap.
Mhm. It could grow only resupinate, but it could also grow reflex. Reflex, that's the word?
Yep.
Like that. That was just like different to the other ones.
Yep, reflects, and it's got the hairy cap.
Yep. It's
And
kind
you
of stretchy.
And you just found this. It's like cool weather mushroom.
Yeah, you always find it in the fall. Like
What was the opposite of reflex from the underside?
Effused.
Refused. Thank you.
Effused with an E.
Effused.
And these pores on here are not really that crazy for Trimatopsis, but they are. Trimatopsis are often like Daloid.
Mhm.
These ones are kind of subdued, but they still have that look. See how different they look?
crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very different between the two different pores, huh?
Only resupinate and then the other one. Yep.
Yep.
This was humongous. I put the like centimeters there, how big the caps were. It's as white pine stump. So in the center is rotten, they were in heaven.
So you call these capnoides because they're on pine?
Yes.
They say that Lateridium can grow on conifer.
Oh boy.
Although it usually doesn't.
Oh. Nothing about the size. These were humongous. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think either of those can get pretty big,
Oh.
Capnoides or Lateridium. But Capnoides can be orange also. Those two can be easy to confuse.
Are either more susceptible to like cracking like these, or is that just conditional?
think that's just they dry out and crack. It probably can happen with either of them.
Yeah, the weather has been so crazy. So December 11. All of these things I found it in a friend's backyard. And he uses a lot of fire wood, but he abandons pieces, and those are the best pieces to find mushrooms. Oof, I love it.
There could be some wood. There could be some wood buried there too. That's different than the pine.
No. This is a stump. It's huge. Pine
Oh,
tree.
okay. Oh, it's right on the stump. Oh,
See,
okay.
so it is soft in there, so they were having a feast.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know. Should we call it capnoides or do we not?
Can pass whatever you.
That's a tricky one. I don't know.
I don't know
And
either.
if you measure the spores, they're
No, I didn't.
well. There's
I
not. There's
assumed that because they were in white pine.
There hardly any difference really between the spore dimensions.
And how the heck can we tell the difference between these things?
I don't know.
I'd like to know
honestly.
that as well.
Sometimes it's obviously capnoides. It's on conifer. It's yellow. I think capnoides has more of those chrysocystidia, at least in my experience. But I haven't looked at enough lateridium to decide for myself whether there's a difference.
I don't know if I did micro and I didn't post it. Let me check.
Yeah, well, once again, you would to see those chrysocystidia, you mount some gill material in KOH. And it doesn't have to be strong KOH.
Oh, I didn't know that trick. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I didn't do no, I didn't work on this. I assumed. Next time. Oh, I didn't get my hands on this one yet.
We'll leave us alone until you get some more work on it. Looks interesting though.
So we're in fundus right now, and we're pretty much just going through Marisol stuff, right?
Yeah, you can, if that's because I think just the way it, how do I get out of here? It's just the way it comes up. Yeah, see, these are all Marisol's things here on this page. She just has a lot of stuff here, but there's one thing of Kira's. Now I could filter them out of there if I wanted to, but I mean, not that I want to.
Oh no, I only know because, like I said, I joined recently, and I feel like every cool thing that I click on is someone from this group.
Oh, we're the NJMA. Yeah, it for some reason it just shows up. Probably because people add in big blocks. So Marisol probably added all these at once. I'm guessing, I don't know. So this is Gliophylum Sepierum. So it's on conifer. This is a good example of that brown cubicle rot.
So this thing has gills, right? Or well, they're pores, but they look like gills.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll find these growing on wood that's been, used to build a picnic table or something like that, or a fence.
Yeah, I see them. That's where I usually see them, is on picnic tables or the shadow work. Did we look at this last week, Marisol?
Yeah, I would express a little doubt about the species name here.
Sepa?
Yeah. And these are really small. They don't look to be real smooth. I think Scleroderma cepa is supposed to be smooth.
We'd have to get a book out to really look at that. All right, we'll just
Yeah,
mark
this
it.
one might be really hard to put a name on.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, it's 9 o'clock, so I'm going to log out of here. All right, cool. Well, any parting words from anybody? Anybody want to say anything before we go?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday.
Yep. The same to everyone. Hope everyone has a really nice holiday, and we'll see everybody next Tuesday.
Everybody a couple of pounds heavier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for coming tonight, and we'll see everyone next week.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right.
bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.